you'd think like how hard it would be, you know.
Yeah.
You've studied your whole life in English medium, so you're pretty much confident, but that confidence just got shattered in like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, you know. And then she came in and like, do you guys understand Hindi? We're like, yes, please give us the food, you know. And then she was like, so she explained everything in Hindi, and then we were like, yeah, okay, yeah, $2 burger, that's it, that's all we want, nothing else, no confusion. I mean, and then we took that burger and we were eating and we looked at each other, and like that was the very second day. So we really realized it very quickly that, I mean, yeah, we really need to you know, adapt to this place. And yeah, so that was my very first.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our second episode of Universal Thought Podcast. That's what we have decided to name it for now. And today's topic is actually we're going to talk about some of the embarrassing moments, or you know, those kind of moments which you have when you're here, when you're new, like you don't have that proper confidence or you don't know about things. And there are a lot of embarrassing moments. There are a lot of moments of like not having confidence and not being able to do that. So we're just going to share that story here so that maybe you guys who are here could relate to that and, you know, maybe feel good about yourself. So maybe I'll start with myself.
Yeah.
So one of the first embarrassing moments, or, you know, like thing that I didn't know was when I came here, one of the things that I was good with was the timetable.
Yeah.
Like I have seen a few of my friends who actually misplaced their flight, or, you know, like they were in a different country. Like always there is a transit whenever we're coming here. Sometimes in China, sometimes in Singapore. Yep. The time difference is different.
Yep.
And when we're looking at the ticket and the timing, sometimes you don't know about it. And I've seen people have missed their flights. It didn't happen with me, luckily, because I was good with that.
Yeah.
But when I came in here and at the airport, we're on a line.
Yeah.
And where we come from, like from Nepal, we don't have that habit of having that personal space like the people around here have.
Yeah.
So I was just in the line and I was so close to go with a girl in front of me, you know, and there was a girl, and she was like, chill dude, and I was like, what did I do wrong, what happened here, you know. I just moved back at that time and just moved on. But yeah, that was one of the first embarrassing moments for me when I landed here in Australia.
It's just the basic etiquette, isn't it? I mean, it seems like it's very basic, but again,
you don't have
you don't have the habit of all of that. And especially that's what I felt after I've come here as well, is about respecting other people's space. You know, again, lining up etiquettes and stuff like that. You know, whenever you go to some you know, offices, government offices, or you know, to do some work in those offices, and then you see that system, and then you know where you know we probably come from, that is a little bit missing. So yeah, I mean that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting.
The thing is that with COVID now, everyone has to say 1.5 meter. Everyone knows that now. But yeah, that's the culture out here where like people have their own personal space and we don't interfere in that.
Yeah. No, that is really true. Even in a very packed train, you know, 9 o'clock train, you see, although it's very packed, but you see there's a amount of I would say, well, I mean, if I say decency, I don't mean that we were indecent, but still, I mean, I'd say that the respect of other people's space is quite evident here. And now I think due to COVID, it's become a medical reason to not you know, do that and be very close to each other. So yeah, I mean, that could be quite embarrassing. I can think of my incident. I think the very second day of coming to Australia. Obviously, first of all, I've not lived in any other country than Nepal. That's it. Through 23 years of my age, been to India border region twice, and that's pretty much it. And you know, so everything was quite foreign for me. Seen people, seen places in say movies or you know, TV shows and stuff like that, but I mean that only gives you, you know, so much of picture. You know, you really have to come and experience to really understand it. So the very second day we went to Manly Beach. I and my friend, we came together, and then we were hungry. We were just roaming around. First of all, it took us like almost 1 hour to find each other, you know. He was in one side of the beach, I was on the other side of the beach, and hey, come here, all of that. And then we met and we're like, okay, let's eat something, you know. And then we were not sure, and I was very selective about eating food here because I'm very specific about what kind of food item I eat, and specifically meat item I eat. So I saw McDonald's, and okay, McDonald's is a global company. That's the one I can recognize. And we went to the McDonald's or Macca's store.
Macca's.
Now I know it, Macca's, but back in the days, McDonald's. And we went there and we're like, okay, $2 chicken burger. That's what we saw, right? And then like, yes, can I get that burger? And then she said, the person there, she said something on the line of, like if you add another $1, you'll get whatever, something else. And we both looked at each other because we didn't understand at all. You know? We didn't get that, what she was trying to say. And then we looked at each other and very confused. And my friend, like, okay, I got this. Stand back. And he tried, to communicate. And again, we both were not able to have a dual communication at that point in time. And then she went inside, she called somebody from India, I think.
Okay.
And then she came out and she's like, do you guys understand Hindi? And we both were already so embarrassed to not be able to, because you'd think like how hard it would be, You've studied your whole life in English medium, so you're pretty much confident, but that confidence just got shattered in like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, And then she came in and like, do you guys understand Hindi? We're like, yes, please give us the food, And then she was like, so she explained everything in Hindi, and then we were like, yeah, okay, yeah, $2 burger, that's it, that's all we want, nothing else, no confusion. And then we took that burger and we were eating and we looked at each other, and like that was the very second day. So we really realized it very quickly that, we really need to, adapt to this place. And yeah, so that was my very first incident.
Yeah, that happens with the language here, because the way people speak out here, although we have like studied in this boarding school for so long, and maybe our English skill is kind of good for speaking and like general conversation. But when you come here and talk to people from here, the first thing they speak very fast, very hard to understand, on the other hand, you have lived here for a few years. And they use a lot of slangs too.
Yes, they do.
That makes things really difficult. One of the things, talking about Macca's, I remember myself, like one of the first jobs that I did here, I was actually working in a cafe restaurant. It was a takeaway shop. And I was working there as a kitchen hand, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the weekends, I guess. And in the evening time, right? So I was in the back in the kitchen hand preparing and doing stuff. But I wanted to progress. So I asked the managers out there to let me actually come and sit on the front of desk without any payment. I just go there and see and just learn that. So I went there the first day. I was at the front desk. Customer came in. All I had to do was like write down whatever she said. But I have no confidence to do that. I couldn't do that. I asked, please come here. I asked the regular person to come there and take that order for them. So that was the kind of situation I think most of us will go through, because we do not have that confidence, the lack of confidence, or lack of confidence that I might not be able to understand that person, and I might just embarrass myself, But look, if only I had done that, the worst that could have happened was I wouldn't understand that person, and I wouldn't be able to take the order. Ask someone else and take the order, right? But during that situation, during that moment, it's very hard to do things like that, because you just don't want to embarrass yourself.
No, it's, that's what I realized as well. It's not just the language, because language is English. We understand English. People here speak English, and all of that is fine. But there are a lot of other things when we talk about, coming to a different culture. It's probably the dialect as well, use of slang, and even for example, you listen to someone speak English in Sydney, and then you go somewhere, beyond the mountains in one of the towns there, and there will be different dialect, and people say that, oh, we really find a little bit hard to try and understand them. So it takes time, and eventually you realize that it's okay to be that, because it's even back home. I studied in Kathmandu University, where people from all around Nepal would come there and study, right? And it's the same language, Nepali language, and then you have different dialects, different way of using slangs and stuff like that, different casual conversations, different way of doing their small talk and stuff like that. So it takes time to find some kind of middle ground, I believe. And so it really, and again, like I said, it's fine, it's okay. It's okay, you don't have to feel embarrassed, but you sometimes do. Sometimes you say something. So I mean, I can't give this example out, but yesterday I was talking to you off air, and well, I said something which was ridiculous, when it's, I just really translated my thought into English words, and it sounded.
You can share the story if you like.
No, that's fine. That's for some different time. But
okay.
I mean, it was so those sort of embarrassing moments do come, time and again. But I mean, eventually it's okay. You adapt to it. You slowly you try and understand. And start making those. Once you start having a dual conversation with people from different culture, and then you slowly start to learn, I believe, and that will take you somewhere.
That's why I think it's important when you come in here, like in the initial days, that you go out and actually talk to different people from like different backgrounds. Although you're low on confidence, maybe just tell them that I'm not so good with my English. English is my like second language, so forgive me if I make any mistakes. And have that conversations, and other things that I did personally myself was go out and distribute the resumes in different places for work. Although I didn't find any jobs from that, one of the things that helped me while like going out and distributing resumes is that confidence that I was talking about to talk to people. And I had that confidence to go out and actually leave a resume and talk to that person, that kind of a conversation dialect, when you have that, you gain confidence. So although you might not find a job, you will surely build up confidence. So it's always a good idea to go out there, like if you're interested in a particular hobby or something, maybe go out to a shop of whatever you're interested in hobby in, have a conversation with them, So I think that's a good idea to do when you come here early.
And that will really, I mean, at that point in time, it sometimes, it's you feel it very embarrassing, but the other person is still trying to make you understand. I mean, that's what I believe. That's what I really realized later on, that I felt at that point that people were judging me at different embarrassing moments. But were they really? I don't think so. Most of them were not. They're just trying maybe extra hard to make me understand and they take that communication to the other level. And a lot of my friends, when later on I made friends and started having those conversations, I realized it from them as well. When I was having that those difficulties in trying to make a dual conversation, and then they really helped. And again, specifically Australia, we've got a lot of slangs, it's so crazy. I mean, you really have to try and understand, and for us to speak those slangs, it's still very difficult because we're not used to it, and slowly we're just we've reached a point where we can at least have a dual conversation. But it's not really embarrassing, but it's at that point in time, it's when you look back, it's really funny.
It's funny.
Oh, how could have I done that? How couldn't I just order a burger? It's crazy. So similar moments again, happened at different points as well. So that is one I can really remember at the moment.
Anything else you could remember? Like I think it's more of than like embarrassing. It's more of a like lack of confidence to do something. That's what I think it is.
Sure.
Because I remember another one, like zebra crossing. Basic zebra crossing. Like the rule out here is you got the priority. You can go on the zebra crossing. But when you're initially here, you're afraid. You're scared to cross the road through the zebra crossing. You're always looking left and right and seeing if that guy is going to stop or not, and only then you cross.
So
things like that. I think it's not knowing what the system or culture is like, plus having that, being a new person.
No, it's so true. I mean, zebra crossing, it's crazy, right? I went back to Nepal after 3 years and I saw there was a zebra crossing where there was a light. So that didn't really make sense to me when I look back. But again, here you got different rules and different way of living, and to come here from a different cultural background, it's more of a sometimes it also could go up to feeling that shock you know,
Cultural shock.
because of the difference in the culture. But yeah, I mean, essentially, again, you slowly realize it, you know, it's okay, and slowly you have your growth as well. And I see a lot of so I've probably dealt with a lot of students, you know, in the last 5 years of my teaching experience, and I could see how they feel embarrassed to just have a conversation even with me. I mean, I would be the last person to judge them because I was their teacher, right? So my only intention would be to probably educate them if they are having, or maybe you know, add confidence in them. But still, you know, whenever I tried to have those conversations, they were still very reluctant about, oh, maybe I'll say something very stupid and embarrass myself and stuff like that. But yeah, eventually, the moral of the story is you still have to, I mean, go out and express yourself, you know, try and make it better every time. Try and, I wouldn't say it's bad or good. Anyways, it's a difference in culture, really,
exactly.
to be honest. And yeah, it's just a difference. And there are so many things which could be also amounting to basic etiquette. So if there's a good thing you're learning, then probably great, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was this, I don't know if I should give this example, but...
Don't name names. Just
no names,
example.
obviously, not taking names, but talking about culture, you know, we used to, you know, while I was working, sit in a staff room, people from different backgrounds, we sit together. And there were people who used to talk in their own language, right? So, for example, 4 Nepalese people, a couple of Filipino people.
By the way, for anyone who's listening right now, if you are in front of someone who doesn't understand your language, it is kind of rude to be speaking in your language in front of someone else who is speaking that.
Yes.
So it's kind of rude. So please don't do that. If you are in a group or in a place with people who do not understand your language, maybe please talk in English.
Yeah.
Because that's
it's
rude.
worst when you laugh. It's worst when like
you laugh and they understand. They don't understand.
They don't
why
understand.
You are laughing. Yeah.
And like and somebody like explicitly told me later on, like, you know, this practice is really rude.
Yeah.
You know? And I always felt that discomfort, obviously, you know, because you get that sense, you know, from their looks and stuff like that, hey, okay, whatever we're doing is probably not correct. But after a point in time, someone literally told me that, you know, and that is quite embarrassing, to be honest, because you do not want to offend anyone. And just think about it. If and I happen to be in the same situation like 4 or 5 years later, you know, I worked in a place where I was the only one from Nepalese background, and there were 10 other people from a different country, right? And we sit in the staff room, have our lunch, and they're all talking in their own language.
Yeah.
And that is the first time I really felt it firsthand how it feels to be, you know, and they're laughing, and, you know, and they're also trying to make some communication with me, and again going back to their own language, and I'm like, yeah, okay, all right,
yeah,
eat my
I
food.
like that.
Yeah, so I mean, those kind of things again. These are some things are cultural, so there is no right or wrong, and some things are just basic etiquette, I believe, to be around people. You know, for example, you know, standing in a line, giving them distance. You know, not trying cramping up other people's room. You know, smiling to
That's the other thing that I've experienced. This is actually a good one instead of embarrassing or anything.
Yeah.
Like when I came in here, I was working in. I was actually unloading a truck of carpets, you know, like, and I was outside the truck unloading carpets.
Yeah.
A random guy in a BMW came out, you know, and just say, "Hey, mate," and just went his way.
Yeah.
Smile, "Hey, mate," that's it.
Yeah.
We never had that before, you know.
No.
Like that's something good about being in a place here, like the culture out here. Like whenever you meet people, you just say, "Hey, how are you, mate?" That's it. Nothing much. Smile. Hey, you move on your way.
So true.
But that's a good thing, you know. That's a good etiquette. Like you know, like it's some kind of a connection you're having with that person, although it's only for a small moment, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
You know?
We walk here in the corridor, and I don't know anybody's name here, right?
Neither
but
me.
yeah, right. But we smile, say good morning every time,
Exactly.
and say hi. And again, even the strangers. I mean, you're walking alone in a road on a road, and then somebody walks
your
by.
eye
and
meets,
like,
you say, "Hey."
Hey, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at at the very beginning, you probably didn't know that, and again you ended up, creating those embarrassing situations as well when
I'm sure people have
somebody,
had that.
yes, somebody, and you don't know how to react.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hello. I don't know. Yeah.
Do I know this person? Why did he say hello?
Or you just completely avoid or walk away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is obviously therefore important to try and learn certain things, and certain things you don't have to necessarily learn as well. You can, if you believe what you do from your background is correct, and you can hold on to that as well. That's fine. But to have a dual communication, sometimes, and I strongly believe that whoever were here and the people from Australia, especially, they really, when they realize that, okay, I cannot have a proper communication with this person, then they probably changed as well, their style of communication. So probably they used lesser slangs and maybe spoke slowly to me, and similarly you can also readjust yourself to reach that common point where, because otherwise you cannot build a relationship, and when we talk about building relationship with people, meeting new people, making friends, making networks and stuff like that, I believe this is really important, that you understand that there has to be a common point where you both have to probably adjust yourself and come, and therefore that communication can go further. Otherwise there were like umpteenth number of communication I had before where I could not build that relationship because our communication, we both did not adjust to it probably, and some of the communication were eventually very embarrassing because they're saying something and it's going left, right and center, and you can't, and then you still give that fake laugh. I don't do that anymore, by the way, just to be honest, because at one point in time somebody told me, a friend of mine told me, if you do not understand, please ask. Please ask me to say it again. I'll try it differently. But if you just say yeah, and then that's really I'm essentially talking to a wall. So what's the point, So
I think it's I think like new students are here just embarrassed to say that I don't know this, or I don't know about this, or I am not used to this. I think people are embarrassed to say that somehow. But again, I have learned this only now. I was the same before. Like as I said, I couldn't even take an order from a customer before, But it's like I have learned it through the years that if you don't know something, if you don't understand something, ask them. It's not rude to be asking. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know, So when you say that to people, like not all of them, but most of them would be like, okay, this guy doesn't know, then they would try to help you.
True. Yeah, no, I mean, someone very wise once said that, I don't know has got a tremendous possibility because you then really open yourself up to learning. If you do not acknowledge that, and you just live in this you're creating this false idea about or false sense of confidence, then probably you'll miss out on the opportunity to learn a lot of things. So because anybody doesn't know everything, so everybody is constantly evolving. They may be good at something and they might not know about other thing, they may be brilliant at something. But if you have this attitude of I know it all, or I mean, but when it comes from fear, I mean, or lack of confidence, it's not just I know it all. It's most of the time it's like I don't want to expose my insecurities. I think that's what
you don't want to get embarrassed.
I've asked a lot of students, as well, and it happens to everybody, to any of us, insecurity is that one thing which really leads for yourself to not opening up to, telling people that I don't know, because you have this feeling of getting judged, and that's always there. So I've asked, I took a sample size. I did a simple, analysis. I spoke to like 10 students, and I told them, is insecurity the reason for you to not express when I'm asking some questions or when I'm trying to have a conversation? And 8 of them said yes.
Yeah.
They said yes because they don't know how I'll perceive them. So as long as they are hiding behind a curtain, then they feel like they are protected or they're not exposed, and there will be no judgment. So therefore, I think people are reluctant to open up. But that will also close the door, of the possibility of learning, I believe. So I think again in these kind of embarrassing situations as well, you can have a laugh later on. You can think back.
You will laugh later on for sure.
And you say some stupid things, some crazy things when you look back. But again, every time if you can just reflect upon that and inquire upon that, like what happened there, why was I not able to make that communication, what was lacking, and probably what other things I can do, to make myself more available to that knowledge of making that communication. So yeah, I think eventually none of us will be perfect, right?
None of us are.
We can never be. We can be better. We can just be a better version of ourselves. Exactly. Basically, that's pretty much it. And I think again, after having so many interactions over the years, we are not confident about the language. We're not confident about the dialect. We're not confident about our, say, for example, flow. When we're communicating and system and all of that. But I don't think there are a lot of people out there judging you, to be honest. There will be few, obviously, but most of the people will be, if you create that open communication channel, then they will be more than happy to, I believe, help you. And then you will eventually be away from those embarrassing situations in future, I believe. And yeah, that has been my experience so far.
It's easier said than done, but as we have been giving examples, like there are moments in our lives where we did things because we didn't know that, or we did not do actually things because we weren't enough confident to do that. But looking back at things right now, as you said, you learn from them, and most of the time those embarrassing moments are funny to say to others, to talk to people, Well, that's another problem. If you are not able to laugh at your embarrassing moment from the past, that is a problem you're having, because you might get into that spiral rabbit hole. You are like only thinking like negative things. So you need to be able to laugh at those embarrassing moments.
You own it. It's a good living room storytelling, anecdote as well. I mean, it's funny when you share it with people later on. It's funny, but at the same time,
at the moment,
yes,
it's not funny.
But if you can learn from that, and in future you can obviously. You can't just say that, oh, it's funny, so I'll just keep doing that. Also, it's very tricky that way, but. Yeah, I mean, to learn from it, to become better, and to just be able to open yourself. I think that's very important. This is also a very debatable topic. A lot of people say, hey, but you got to be able to keep some sort of suspense in your personality, because if you let it out, then there will be a lot of people making judgments about you. I don't know if that's true. I try, again, I also struggle with that. So sometimes I feel like, do I want to give it all out? Do I want to keep it some for myself? Or, and who, again, you choose the person as well. You don't, because I express differently with my friends and family, and then I express differently with, my work colleagues, express differently with new people I meet and other, all of that. But whenever there is an opportunity to learn, I think instead of just closing it as an embarrassing chapter, just try and see what you can learn. For example, your incident at the airport, I think there's a important learning you can get from there. It's like, hey, personal space intrusion is not really appreciated around the world, and it's quite basic as well. You wouldn't like it as well, but you've seen it, being normalized, back from our background, and I believe now COVID will change that a lot.
Yeah, of course,
COVID will
it's
change
changed
that a lot.
already. As I said, the other one I can just remember right
Yeah.
now is travel system, transportation system, like
Yeah.
while traveling in trains. So one of the things that I didn't know and I got stuck with was, you know, how in trip you like, if you see like from one place to another, sometimes you have to like change the train and take another one and go. And I was like, in one of the trains, I don't remember exactly where I was going, but it was, I had to go from somewhere and I had to change my train in Rockdale and then go. And you know, I got on the train. And when I reached Rockdale, I realized that that train, whichever I was in, wasn't going to the place I was. So somehow I came out in Rockdale and I started like seeing the apps and everything, and I couldn't figure out like what to do, where to go. So I actually asked someone out there. I was pretty confident enough by then. Somehow, as I said, when it comes to traveling, I had been traveling from back home, Nepal, so I knew how to use Google Maps, and it was pretty easy for me to actually travel around here, in the sense that the second day I was out, I bought my own Opal card and I was just traveling train. Someone just guided me through and I was able to do that. But I didn't know about that changing trains. So that was one of the things where I got stuck, and of course I reached wherever I had to reach late. You know.
I mean, I still struggle with buses. I mean, trains is still fairly simple.
Trains are very simple.
But it took me a long time to get my bus thing right, you know.
I still don't know how to ride on buses.
It's so tough, I mean, it's crazy to, and you know, once I started actually traveling by bus to one of my work, and then that's where I really got into it. But yeah, I mean, it has happened to me as well. Sometimes even now it happens. I have to change it from one station there somewhere in the middle, and then sometimes I catch just another train. You're putting your headphones and stuff like that. But yeah, those kind of moments also do happen, and it's quite embarrassing for yourself. Like, oh, what did I do? You know, oh, come on. It's fairly simple. How did I miss that? And those kind of things do happen. But essentially, it's just because you're not used to it, and therefore those moments should really be okay. You know, you shouldn't. Sometimes these kind of embarrassing moments, and it's even worse if someone tells you something about those things. You're just very much, you know, shattered in your confidence after that. But I mean, it is quite normal. It will happen. It's okay. It's fine. You know,
it happens to everyone.
It happens to everyone. It happens to everybody. Even, you know, you see big politicians, they always, you know, do something or the other which is very embarrassing, but they're still one of the powerful people in the world, you know. So I mean, that shouldn't like really kick your confidence, or that shouldn't like really disturb your confidence or impede your confidence. I think you should be still able to come out of that and still go out and express yourself, because more you express yourself, more you'll know, and more you'll know about yourself as well, more you know about people, and then, you know, it's fine to get embarrassed sometimes. It happens. Choices of words sometimes, you know, it comes out completely differently, and it will have completely different meaning. And I was like, what did I just say? I'll take that back. No, I can't, you know, I've already said it. So yeah, you do that. It happens in life, and it's okay. You know, you only realize it, as I said, after you get out of it. In the moment, you might not be able to realize that. In most of the cases, but as I said, it's funny. Embarrassing moment. Anything else you have in your mind? I mean, like some kind of difficulty, you know, like cultural shock is a big thing. Like, you know, like, because we have completely different cultures. Like how our culture back there is like so much like being in a community, togetherness, joint families, whereas here it's people are like independent, more independent culture. People are more comfortable with uncertainties out here, you know. And have you had any kind of like issues? Well, it's quite embarrassing as well. My first day at work, I've never worked in my entire life, and I go to work, and somebody told me you got to wear a white top and black shoes. So I went there. I went to work in a kitchen, right? So I was assisting the chef. And doing all kitchen works and stuff like that. The first day I go in, my attire was white shirt, ironed properly, right? Black pants, ironed properly, and a leather black shoes, dress shoes. I went to the kitchen. Yeah. Oh my God, they were like, oh, there we go. We have our groom here now. The bride will. Oh my God, they really. So that was quite embarrassing. The first day, and I'm just going with some nicely signed shoes and my new shirt I bought before I came here and yeah, so they made fun of that for I don't know, a few months, I guess. So that was quite embarrassing. My very first day at work, and yeah, that is one thing I can remember. And then I never, repeated that dress ever again because I obviously I couldn't. So,
yeah,
that is another embarrassing moment. And mostly my embarrassing moments were around conversations. Now I. At the top of my head, I can only remember so many conversations, but while having those conversations at the very beginning, even now sometimes it happens, the choice of words comes out so differently that yeah. So
because it's our second language, as I said, although we have use it in school, all the time and everything, but it's our second language anyways, so we lack those kind of vocabularies, we lack those kind of proper particular words. I get lost a lot of time while having conversations like that, and I just say that I'm lost for words. I'm trying to say this, but I couldn't find a particular word, so I'm saying this. But you can always explain that.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. I mean, again, you have to be open for the communication. That's the only way it is. If you close yourself after. If a communication goes wrong, if a conversation goes wrong, if you close yourself and not make yourself available for doing it another time, you'll never be able to break that barrier, I guess, So embarrassing conversation, okay, there will be embarrassing dates you go to, right? There will be embarrassing meetings you have, right? So it keeps on happening, Sometimes there will be glitch on the Zoom meeting, even now,
Even now.
Yeah, you forgot to mute it, and then you say something quite casual or quite sometimes very offensive as well at times. I mean, well, I've not been in that situation, to be honest, but I mean, it happens, you see it all over the internet, and yeah, I mean, those kind of things will happen just to be able to. They say that when in Rome, live like Romans, so just when you come here, you have to adapt. I think that's the right word. Change is still very radical for me because I feel like, hey, why do I need to change? I have my own identity and stuff like that. And whatever I've learned, all of them cannot be discarded, or most of it is, I believe in most of those things, those are my values, those ingrained in my value system and all of that. But again, adapting to changing circumstances. We come from the lower parts of Nepal, and once we went up to the mountains for trekking, and then most of the people from the hilly region, nothing happened to them, but one of my friend who came from the lower part of it, he got altitude sickness in 4 or 5 days. So because we did not really adapt, or his body did not really adapt to it. We should have gone slowly and tried to respect that environment and then slowly get into that and reach some common point, I believe, and eventually it's all about communication. I think if I have had communication with fluently English speaking Australian people, and then I had a lot of other friends whose communication skills were not that developed in regards to English, but we could talk in our own little language we have created. We've come somewhere in between, to make those communication. And I think that will really take you away from having those embarrassing moments, I guess. But again, it's all fun, I think. It's fun and learning at the same time. Unless sometimes some embarrassing moment could be very offensive for the other person as well. That's where you really have to, because that takes away the fun element now. It's not funny anymore. It's not funny anymore because you do something very stupid, like for example, intruding other people's personal space. Well, it's embarrassing, but if that person really takes an offense, or if the line is really crossed, then probably the fun element goes out. It becomes a really seriously embarrassing moment.
It could be. Talking about your like workplace, whatever you were saying about how they call you a groom, that's something that I've seen here, like especially when you're doing jobs which are not like professional, like white collar jobs, blue collar jobs. We can see a really good, what do we call that, camaraderie between those people than the way you can see with like white collar jobs. When you're in blue collar jobs, there are plenty of people who are there to break your balls, which basically means that they are there to roast you or tease you, you know, but in a fun way, you know. They have that, and when you're new out here, that could be like a kind of an embarrassing moment for you, because you know, like they might be just trying to break your balls and you take it seriously, you know. So that's something, you know, informational. Maybe it could be informational for like helpful for newcomers out here. You know, like if someone is out there like roasting you or breaking your balls at work, maybe they're just trying to have fun with you.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. But I believe, you know, yes, exactly. Most of the time they are just trying to have fun, but not everybody will receive it well as well. I think making fun and roasting each other, I think it has to be only between people who have that, you know, understanding with each other. Some people will really take offense on that as well. So whenever you are, for example, hey, this is my culture, I'm roasting you, and then you don't know when you will cross the line, and you don't know if that person really will be comfortable, and then that person suddenly might take very strong offense. And when in workplace, you have to be really careful, because it can amount to workplace bullying as well, right? So workplace bullying is a very serious issue, and Australia has an entire act around it as well, you know, to protect people from workplace bullying. So again, I'm not trying to take this conversation to the serious side, but sometimes sometimes just fun and you can be aware of that as well, because I've seen a lot of people who don't find it funny at all.
Not everyone is the same, of course not.
Exactly, and they feel that, you know, you've been constantly bullied, you know, at your workplace, and you're not. Maybe you don't have a comeback, or you don't have that extrovert approach towards having communication and stuff like that, and they really struggle with keeping up their, you know, a good attitude towards going to that workplace, because they feel like, oh, okay, I'm gonna, you know, it happens in school as well. We see a lot of, you know, while I was growing up as well, there were a lot of bullies around as well. Well, they made funs, because, and I was a part of that as well. I'm also a kind of person who likes to make some, you know, little jokes and trolls and this and that. And then once somebody really literally told me, like, dude, that's not funny. No. Yes, I mean, okay, you've said whatever you said until now, but no, got to stop it. And from that day, I completely stopped it.
Because that happens. Like sometimes it happens that's when, again, it comes to our point that we're talking about. You should speak about it. You know, sometimes if you are not okay with that kind of, you know, like breaking balls, maybe you should speak about it, you know. Maybe people stop doing that if you speak about it sometimes, you know, because as I said, people might just be doing that just to have fun with you, you know, and later on realize that, it's not so fun for that person. So they might stop that. So you should speak for that.
Yeah, so true. I mean, like I said, you know, yesterday I was updating our anti-bullying policy and procedure, and again I realized, you know, there's such a fine line. It's such a fine line. Like, what is, for example, you and I have a certain kind of relationship. We've still not reached a point where we have started to crack jokes about each other, right? So it will slowly come eventually, I believe, you know, because we're of the same age, and, you know, slowly we'll interact more, and you know, same goes with other people as well. But when I go to other friends, you know, or my other workmates who I've worked with for a long period of time, then we have that extra, I believe, understanding about each other, and then you can go a little bit further. But you really have to keep communicating with the other person as well, whether or not that person is really taking offense, because sometimes people just keep it in themselves, and they strongly find all of that bullying, you know. And if it happens to go to a different direction and complains and all of that, then you could be in trouble as well. Yeah, because anti-bullying is very, I mean, very strong sort of policy a lot of organizations take, you know. So
True.
yeah, well, embarrassment and embarrassing situations could sometimes also lead to a very nasty direction as well. So just to be a little aware of those things, I guess. Yeah.
Right, and then I think that's a good note to end this podcast. And like, speak up for yourself. There are embarrassing moments, but that's all right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, well, I mean, yes. We're just trying to. I don't know how many examples did I give. I mean, quite few, I guess. But we talked around it, you know, to just for everybody who. And again, like I said, we talk from our experiences of different duration. You got 4 or 5 years. I got 8, 9 years, and then a more mature person will have a different approach to it as well. But we're just trying to share our experiences around how we felt and what we probably
just letting
learned.
the new people know that things like this could happen.
Yeah.
That's all right.
That's all right.
You don't have to,
you
just,
learn.
Feel wrong about it.
Yeah, learn and grow and keep moving. But don't stop expressing yourself just because you find yourself in an embarrassing situation, because that will really, stop your growth or impede your growth. And just keep expressing yourself in the most, confident way possible at that point in time. And yeah, that'll really help, I guess.
All right then, guys. That was the podcast for today. Thank you very much for watching us. If you have any topics on your mind, please let us know and we'll talk about it. Right.
Thank you.
If you like this video, hit subscribe. You can listen to the full podcast in YouTube, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.